Hello students, welcome to BTech 360. We'll be doing a series of videos on the examinations that you must appear for the best engineering college that you have in the country. And one of them, of course, is the Pilani campus or the BITSAT, right? The BITSAT is the examination and they have 4 campuses, Pilani, Goa, Hyderabad and also Dubai, right? What we're going to discuss now is about BITS as an institution, which is the Birla Institute of Technology, and the 4 campuses, how the placements are, what the fees is, what are the kind of cutoffs, what are the kind of scores you need, and how you can get into that. That's the whole thing that we're doing. Before I move any further, if you're not subscribed to BTech 360, please subscribe right now because we're going to help you get into the best engineering college of your choice based on your score, affordability, access, and everything that you have. But we're going to keep giving you information to help you get into the best engineering college that is out there, right? Coming to BITS Pilani, the examination that we're talking of right now is BITSAT. This is the examination we're talking of, and we're going to cover the other 4-5 national examinations also. Besides the state exams, as we move along, we'll cover that. We're going to cover VITTI, SRMJE, Amrita, we already covered that, and we'll also cover Manipal, right? Now, Birla Institute of Technology and Science is the institute, but the exam is BITSAT. We're going to talk of the campus, the selection process, the eligibility criteria, placement, the fees, everything we're going to talk about that, right? Now, what are the 4 campuses? You have Pilani, right, which is the oldest campus that you have. You have Pilani, then you have Goa campus, Hyderabad campus, and then Dubai campus. By the way, in the next couple of years, they'll also get the Amravati campus, which is in Andhra Pradesh. In the next 3-4 years, they'll also open the 5th campus. By the way, that will be a very specialized campus only for AI and high-end technology things, right? Now, BITS Pilani itself was established in 1964. Right, so we're dealing with about 61 years. They've been around for 61 years. That's a very, very good thing, right? And it's an institution of eminence. What is institution of eminence? It is given to those institutions by the government of India, which give them greater autonomy. And why do they do that? Because they believe that they have the potential to be in the top 100 universities in the world. That's when the government of India gives them autonomy. And BITS Pilani or BITS, Birla Institute of Technology, the deemed university, has got that status. It's spread out 328 acres in Pilani in Rajasthan. NIRF engineering ranking is 11th. I personally think it should be about 6th to 7th. But anyways, it is 11th at this point in time, right? The total students is 10,485 across the 4 years and everything. They have 10,485, of which boys are 87%, which is what happens typically for an engineering college because of the core engineering branches that you have. About 87% are boys and about 13% are girls. In fact, in IITs, if you go, it is slightly different, but they actually give extra numeracy for the girls so that they can increase the gender ratio, right? 78% students come from outside the state because you have 4 campuses, there are choices that are made differently. And about 4% students come from outside the country, which means you also have foreigners, about 400 foreigners coming and studying in the BITS campuses across the 4 campuses that you have, right? Now, what are the campuses that you have? Then you have Goa on 180 acres in Goa. It's a beautiful campus. You must go there if possible. It's a very beautiful campus. Then you have Hyderabad, spread over 328 acres. Again, it's a constant college of BITS Pilani, right? And then you have the Dubai campus also. This was established in 2000. And by the way, people who study here, there are enough reports that they come back and ultimately end up getting the BITS Pilani degree at some point. That's what they say, right? Now, what are the faculty that you have? For the kind of 10,000 students that you have about 810 faculty, which means we're dealing with 1:12 kind of a faculty-student ratio or 1:13, which is a decent ratio to deal with, right? Now, the placement, like what we're going to rely on from here on is only data that's submitted to the government of India. We're not going to rely on anything which is brochure, but government of India or third party, right? When we looked at that data, for the year 23-24, there are 2,759 students who, graduated, which means they passed out from their course, of which 2,458 students were placed. Now, what happened to the other 300? About 283 of them moved for higher education, which means they went for post-graduation, right? Which means almost 99% students were placed. And the median salary is 18 lakh rupees. So they could place about 2,458 students at a median salary of 18 lakh rupees, which is extremely commendable. Extremely commendable. And this happens, and despite the fact that there are 4 campuses and students are going all over the place and all, This is the reason why BITS Pilani really stands out, because they do extremely good student outcomes for the students. So people who join them get a very good student outcome, and you can see that this is a Government of India data. I'm not showing any other data, right? Even in the previous year, 2,443 students were placed at 19 lakh median salary. And the year before that, 2,470 students were placed at 18.2 lakh median salary. So when you look at that, the performance has been very consistent to about 97, 98, 99% kind of placement, and at about 18, 19 lakh rupees kind of a median salary, which is very, very good. And the similar thing happens in PG programs also. They also have master's programs. Like 660 students graduated in the year 22-23, and 632 students were placed, right? And 16 further moved out to PhD and all. So when you look at that, again about 98% students were placed at 16.5 lakh rupees median salary. So across all the programs, they seem to be delivering a fantastic student outcome in terms of placing 98, 99% students at about 17, 18, 19 lakh rupees kind of a thing across UG and PG programs. And if you look at the gender diversity also, it is very interesting out here. You should, we also already talked about that the female students were 1,397 in UG program and 242 in the PG program. Now, if you look at it over the last 3 years, we earlier discussed that also from the NIRF statement that I've showed you. We're dealing with a placement of about 99% in the last available year, 98% before that, and 93% before that. And the median salary is 18 lakh rupees. So they could increase it by about 2 percentage points while slightly giving in to the median salary bit. But it is a very good number because 2806 were admitted, 2759 graduated. The gap between that is that people would have taken a drop year or they would have stepped out of it. 2458 were placed. 283 moved for higher education, which means they wanted to pursue post-graduation. And that too came to the 99.27% placement. Now, what are the scholarship details that you have? You have top 10 get full fee waiver. So if you're in top 10 of the BITSAT examination, you get full fee waiver, right? While over 20% of students benefit from merit need-based awards. So 20% of the students, based on the merit or the need, will get some kind of a scholarship, not necessarily 100%, but they might get something or they will get something. How much is obviously a conversation between you and the institution, depending on your need and your merit. And they're going to expand this. I recently spoke to the Vice Chancellor of BITS Pilani, and they were talking of how it's over a period of time they want to reach this to 50% of the students getting some kind of scholarship or the other, which is very good because the higher, the better the scholarship, the greater the chances that merit would be invited, because if you can't afford to get into an institution, you don't even apply for the institution. That's been an experience all along. What's the exam pattern? The exam pattern is over 3 hours, 130 questions, 390 marks, so 3 marks for each correct answer. It's MCQs, 3 marks for the right answer, and 1 negative mark also for every wrong answer. So you must be careful about how you go about doing it. The sections are physics, chemistry, mathematics, English proficiency, and logical reasoning. 5 sections out here, right? The registration would start in the month of January. Last date is April. You have slot booking of May, admit card May, exam date May, and results in June. Now they've slightly changed it as compared to what it was last year. So you must keep looking at these dates closely to understand how it's going to conflict or deal with in terms of the JEE advanced and those kind of things, because you might at some level get into a conversation where you need to make a choice between once you appear for JEE advanced and when it's going to happen, there might be some kind of conflict. So they'll keep working on the dates to deal with that situation also. Now, we also looked at the alumni profile. See, we showed what the Government of India data is, but we also looked at the alumni profile to understand how many students are out there who studied at BITS Pilani at some point in time, and what are they doing currently in terms of their roles, the companies that they work for, and those kind of things. When we looked at that, we got about 161,000 students who studied at BITS, one of the 4 campuses at some point in time, right? 162,000, let's say close to 162,000. When we looked at that, about 35,000 students studied computer science, about 16,853 students studied electrical, AI about 1,850 because it's a new field, mind you, so the number of students should be lesser. Mechanical is 17,602. So these are 4 numbers that we got from the 161,899. But what is important is what comes later. 72% of the students who studied in BITS Pilani, all the 4 campuses, when I say BITS Pilani, remember it's now all the 4 campuses, 72% work in India. which also means that 27-28% students work outside of India. This happens when the institution is so good that you join a company and then from there you keep growing and at some point in time grab a global role, which is what seems to have happened here. That there would be a few international placement offers also, mind you, but a lot of these students would have joined one of those MNCs based out of India. It can be Microsoft or a Google or a Meta or whatever it is, and then grow yourself to a global role and move out of India, which is what would have happened here, right? And when you look at the 27%, Dubai about 2% students are there, UK 2% students are there, US 15% students are there. About 23,538 students who studied at BITS Pilani are right now based out of US, which is a very good number. So 15% in US, 2% in UK, 2% in Dubai, 1% in Germany, and so on and so forth. So that is how the number. So you actually have BITS Pilani alumni all over the globe, which is what this reflects. Now, when we looked at the kind of companies, let's talk of the trillion-dollar companies, which is called Mang, which is Meta, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google. When you look at that data, we realize that about 418 people who studied at BITS Pilani right now are working in Meta, which means that Meta obviously goes for placement that you actually have such a high scale of people. Apple, about 40 people are right now working. Amazon, about 1,755 people are right now working. Netflix, 32 people are working. And Google, 1,191 students are working, which obviously means that all these companies, in all possibility, are going to one of the campuses for recruitment, right? And if you look at it, earlier about 782 people at some point in time worked at Meta, of which 418 are working, which means the other 270, 280 would have moved on to other companies, because remember, it's a 60-year-old institution, so people would have joined and moved on and all. So that's why we also gave you the complete number here. Like Amazon, 5,280 people worked, which is a big number, which means that Amazon recruits at scale from BITS campuses. And same is the case with Google also. 2,843 people worked at Google, right now about 1,191, which means that about 1,700 students joined Google and moved on from there, which also means that Google recruits at scale from BITS Pilani campuses, right? So we're going to keep covering some of these examinations as I move along. If you want me to do any special coverage of any of your institution or an examination, please write to me here. We're going to dig out data so that we help you understand the examination, the pattern, and the college itself and the kind of placement that they happen, so that you can decide whether you want to appear for that or not. I hope this helps you. Thank you so much. Namaste.